On the last Wine and Dine, Elizabeth and her merry band of wine enthusiasts came together for a night filled with wonderful wines and an absolutely amazing meal. Our guests opened up about their favourite wines and showed us that their personalities match. Time to see how things turn out. We're back to fill our glasses once again with Wine and Dine, the programme that creates unforgettable experiences around wine and dinner parties. So on that note, let's go check up on our guests. Wow, look at this dessert, it's amazing. A lovely bitter chocolate cake. We have got a surprise as well in the wine. This is a sticky, all the way from Australia. This is Dine de Bartoli, late semi on 2002. What we're looking for in the wine is definitely, you're going to have a lot of sweetness, a lot of fruit there, and also just a little hint of bitterness in the wine. What do you make of it?
It's gold, isn't it? This is gold.
Pure gold.
I detect a bit of jasmine there.
Bit of floral character.
Yeah,
it's
lots
definitely
of floral.
A very sort of rich fruit, isn't it? Sort of a honey apricot.
Yeah.
It's
very
a really
invasive
rich,
honeysuckle,
sweet
isn't it?
wine. It's a pudding wine. You can almost smell the pudding before you're seeing it with this wine. It's very decadent.
I mean, you're going the full Monty, aren't you? Having a good red wine with the main course, and then you think, heck, I'm going to have this as well.
Yeah. Right, so enjoy your pudding. It looks lovely, and I'll see you in a bit.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you.
Where does he go?
Not real butt.
I'm just having a romantic moment at this moment.
With the talks. Romance, darling, tell me. What is your most romantic experience in your life?
Don't fill the blood.
No.
How did this guy I met, he originally lived in New York when I was living in New York, and we kind of knew each other, and then I came back to London. I was travelling a lot, so I go to New York, and we just bumped into each other 2 or 3 times. It happens in a big city like New York City. One thing led to another. I went back to New York on a business trip, and he was there at the airport. Flowers, beautiful diamond ring. I got engaged.
So what happened after that?
It was clear it wasn't going to work out. We ended it. We didn't see each other for a long time. And then, would you believe it? I'm in New York on a business trip, and I bumped into him again.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
What I have for you here, it's Anderson Collieta 1982 Tawny Port. When people think about port, they often think about ruby port or vintage port. So there are 2 main categories, and the one that I think goes far better with cheese is Tawny Port, and that's because it's been aged for a long time in oak.
It's got a really lovely, thick honey taste.
I think you'll find when you're tasting it, it has a wonderfully nutty, raisiny character, and that goes so well with so many cheeses. Not too sweet, so it's not too cloying, so it goes quite well with that really savoury, salty nature of the cheese. And of course, you've got very different flavours here. You've got goat's cheese, you've got sheep's cheese. Try the wine with the different cheeses and see how it goes. I'm going to put you on the spot now and ask you, what was your favourite wine and food pairing and why?
The white wine with
The burgundy, like the burgundy, did you?
Those two actually were such a good combination. They
Go for the port. I think the best combination that we've tasted tonight is the cheese.
Yeah, whenever I've had port with cheese, it's always been, a ruby port.
Yes, everyone gets on about.
But this is lovely.
Australian Cabernet Sauv. All the flavours from the beef and the wine, it's just blended so well together.
Whereas the dessert wine and the dessert were almost opposed, but I don't know, it's very hard to describe.
It was all good stuff.
So I just want to say thank you very much for a fantastic evening. I think we've all learned something here tonight. Here's a
Thank you
toast
so much, Peter.
to you lovely people,
Thank you.
to great food and to fine wine.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter.
Tonight, I think, has been a great success.
The food and wine this evening were fantastic.
I think the port was a real revelation.
I was, like everybody, I think, very surprised by the port.
There were lots of very useful tips too.
The fact that with red wine, the room temperature is all subjective.
Which really surprised me, and yet totally makes sense.
The people I would stay in contact with.
I believe that you either bump into people again by chance.
I'll maintain contact with everybody.
Thank you very much for a very enjoyable evening.
So, Elizabeth, it's all over. How did it go?
I think it went fantastically well. What do you think?
Well, I thought it was great. So how do you think your guests got on with the wine?
I think they really, really loved your wine. If they didn't like the wine, they would be whinging all the time, all right? Because we're talking about people who are very discerning. And
I knew I had to convince Roger, your husband, because he was a bit
very discerning, isn't it?
But
He loved it. And you know what? Next week, I bet you we'll have some. You know, that burgundy with the risotto, it's just gorgeous, the earthiness.
Great. And what about the pudding wine? Did that work for you?
I'm not a sweet person, but ask me what I've got in my glass right
Good
now.
vibes going around the table?
I think there were some great vibes going around the table. So Peter, thank you so much for choosing our wines. Couldn't do it without you.
Cheers. As our guests wend their happy way home, it only remains for me to say goodbye. So until the next Wine and Dine, cheers. For more information on Wine and Dine, including the wines and food featured in this programme, please refer to our website, timesonline.co.uk/wineanddine.